Dragonshire, the first map in the best of 5. We got the Hardos, play day number 11, everybody. The second half of the season continues. We have Go Next going up against the blue team. The Hardos obviously very, very eager to lock this in with ideally a 3-0 since they're trying to reclaim the number 1 position. And it's not going to be easy for them because at this point 30k is out of reach, at least for this playday. But at least if they are winning this one with a 3-0, they would get quite close. And once that the actual match happens between 30k and the Hardos, they could reclaim that position then once more. So it's still that battle for the number 1 that we are looking at, even though Go Next is currently 7th in the standing. We got first ban is May, alright, so she is getting taken out here, that's the first thing. Obviously this is about Dragonshire, heroes that we would still expect to be addressed in some way, shape or form. Rexa, Sonya, Hogger, Uther in this case also banned out. But our 3 side laners are heroes that you would always expect whenever Dragonshire is being played. Rexa mostly so because he excels on the map per se, the other 2 are so high up in the meta that no matter what map you play, they usually give you a lot of value. And yeah, you should see some of that addressed soon, TM. Also a bit of a question if we're gonna see at some point Chromie banned out once again. So maybe not necessarily here, but could happen later on. But yeah, let's see Medivh first of all. Okay, so that answers one question. Bird Boy is already off, and that leaves all of those side laners that I mentioned previously still up on the map, with Yasuo being an absolute pain in the ass on Lucio. Another support gets banned, and that leaves us with plenty of annoying picks that both of them can go for. So what are we going to see first? Chris has been playing the side lane, of course, for the blue team quite a bit. By the way, in case that I haven't talked about during the videos here, especially for the people watching this on YouTube, the Grand Final, the live event, the LAN event, has been pretty much confirmed. It's going to take place in Paris, and players, they have to get a PCR test 72 hours before they enter France, and that's within the 72 hours before they enter France. And that's pretty much it. It's going to happen at the beginning of July, if I'm not mistaken, at the 11th. And therefore still a little bit of time for the situation also to get even better, but at this point all signs are on go. Okay, so we get Rexa as our first pick. That doesn't really come as a shock. Again, our King of Dragonshire is obviously excelling here. The Hogger and Sonya counter pick is pretty much reflecting exactly what I talked about when we are entering the first draft in there, the first draft in there for the ban phase. Phoenix and Brightwing. Phoenix is an interesting one, but Nick has been playing him a little bit more. Now we saw, of course, a couple of meme compositions with Phoenix as well. He's also been played on Braxis a bit, even though we don't see the map all that often. But we have seen Nick on Phoenix this season before, also on Dragonshire. So starting to play him more often on maps where he also wants to have the mobility. I mean, on Braxis that is a bit self-explanatory, the warp quite useful. But let's see what they can actually do in this case. For now, also the bans on Uther, on Malf. Uther has been banned regardless. And on the Cockroach. So, no stun into Rexa. The thing is that we could still see variants. So if there's any kind of like setup for the Hardos where they're trying to get quick kills in, they can do that with Rexa, Brightwing, and with the Vikings. Variant. The Vikings picked on the other side. I'm like, wait, what? Oh, awesome. Okay, Dragonshire was starting off with the Viking game. Didn't expect that we would see them this quickly, but I'm definitely a fan. So, Stukov, Hogger, Sonya. That's an interesting setup because I really want to know what Kelvin is now going to pick. This is not your typical Viking composition. Not by any means. I mean, normally when we're playing Vikings, we have a strong 4-man with 1 range damage dealer and, of course, a full support plus some assists. There's, by the way, Varian, who I just pointed out a second ago, so that lockdown setup is still here. And we get Chris and Sergeant Hammer, so they're going to try and push against the Vikings as much as they can, and that's kind of nasty. The Chromester, as we're heading into game number 1. Game number 1, Hardos against Go Next, Dragonshire, everybody. Hardos on the left side playing Rexa. The reason, by the way, why the lobby dropped towards the end, pretty simple. Apparently the French caster was once again late, pretty much happening every week by now. I don't think he was on time even once. And the admin therefore disconnected from the lobby to allow him to rejoin before we started into the actual game. So now we got Bad Benny on Variant, we got Chris on Sergeant Hammer, Nick on Phoenix, and Yasuo on Brightwing for the blue team. On the right side of the map, we currently have Wit on the Lost Vikings, Zero on Hogger, Blade on Sonya, Kelvin on Chromie with the Dragon's Breath on level 1, and Skynox is playing Stukov, the Admiral. So this is going to be a bit of a weird one, because the Vikings normally want to give you map control and allow a 4-man to push, but the composition that is being drafted around the Vikings isn't really strong in a 4-man setup in the traditional sense. And we are going to see, very likely, a push through the top lane of Sergeant Hammer. So Chris is going to try and siege up here as much as he can. He needs to deal with Chromie, of course, which is going to be a little bit annoying for him. But in the meantime, we also have the mid lane being pressured by Nick. Of course, Phoenix is really nice as a solo laner as well. That has been something that has been executed and used in the past, even in HGC, mostly by NA teams, but the theory behind it is very solid. I mean, what you want from your solo laner is you want to have mobility, you want to have some self-sustain, which he gets through his shields, he has the warp mechanic, he has the AoE damage, so he has pretty much everything that you want. The problem if you run him as a solo laner is that very often in the later stages of the game you're missing that second melee that you want to have at the side of your main tank, and that's a bit of an issue. But generally speaking, he can solo this quite easily. And now that situation comes in quite handy, because you have 3 lanes that are getting pressured quite hard, and for the Vikings this is likely going to become a problem as the game continues. But again, we're jumping ahead of ourselves a little bit here, but just going through a few of the motions, you can already see that interplay between Sergeant Hammer and Chromie topside. And so far, there it is. We have at the bottom of the map our little setup with a Bad Benny trying to interfere with the grab on the Siege Giants. That didn't really work out. I mean, again, he needs a bit more of an assist for that than anything else. But, yep, we still have 2 shrines that can be controlled for the first Dragonite, and at least at the top side, it's so far an easy lock for the red team. Down here at the bottom, bit of a different story. Now that Varian has his taunt, the situation is going to change though, because whenever someone pokes out a little bit too much, that taunt is going to hit. And topside gets pushed even further. Once that Chris gets his level 7 talent, it's going to be much easier for him to make sure that he is not eating too much of the Chromie damage. The Vikings, of course, still allowing Go Next to at least control one of the shrines and then contest the objective the entire time. But Bad Benny is already putting pressure on the Blade. Hogger's rotating top, so Yasuo and Chris need to be a little bit careful, especially Chris. And he is able to make it out. Nicely done also by Yasuo, who had the polymorph ready for Hogger. But the situation is still a nice back and forth that we have here. Very heavily focused on macro, obviously. Enough rotations around it. And Varian with the kill against Sonya, thanks to the help of Phoenix in the mid lane. But Chris and Yasuo have already taken the wall at the top out. And once that the fountains start to fall, this is easily becoming a very dominant position for the Hardos, at least in the middle of the map. So something to keep an eye on. And since the blue team is also splitting onto several lanes, we're currently in a position where it's nearly impossible for Go Next to make a move towards the Dragonite. And instead, it's now Bad Benny who gets the channel, and 3 minutes into the game, he's able to lock in the first DK for the Hardos. Yeah, nicely done. By now, we got the hover siege mode, of course. As mentioned, the top lane is very much so going to benefit from that. Blade is also in a really awkward spot, but he gets some assistance here from Kelvin and Skynox as they are moving towards the top side in an attempt to take Yasuo down. Right wing already about to escape. Even Rexar is helping out. Nice. And they get the kill against Chromie. Chromie is down, and now it's time for them to dive the fort. They can easily take that fountain down if they want to, and that would eliminate all kinds of sustain at the top lane for Go Next and make it much easier for Chris and his teammates to control that fort and also the top objective. Another attack against Blade could even lead to the death of Sonya, but she's able to make it out. But let's not forget that during all of this, the Dragonite is still doing damage at the bottom of the map and takes the fort out. So up here, it's just a little brawl in the 4 versus 4 setup. The Vikings are still dying at the bottom of the map, as Balog and Eric are both biting the dust. But topside, the fort has nearly been destroyed. They did a great job taking the fountain down. And this is a real good setup for the Hardos here. So, yeah, very, very well done. Currently, we're looking at Nick even taking the walls down to limit the vision a little bit more. Bad Benny is just waiting for someone to attack the Siege Giants so they can have a word with them. But with now a level lead and 3 kills to 0, another attack against 0 on Hogger makes it out, is able to escape. Close call though. But the topside damage is of course continuing now as Chris is just taking position around the fort and really putting the pressure on. And eventually they're gonna have to fall back here. They have a very melee heavy setup and it makes it difficult for them to engage and poke. If they commit, they have to commit fully. And currently Chris is using that to his advantage to drop more and more damage onto the fort and take it down eventually. And that's going to give them the level 10 talent, of course, on top of it as well. So even though the entire team is more or less trying to gank up on Sergeant Hammer, I don't see it happening. A nice move for a blink target, and Yasuo, thanks to the blink heal, is able to escape. We got the salvo in for Phoenix, and no Murky with Octograb in this game, and therefore no laser. Nobody is going to go brrrr in this one. 16 stacks for Chromie on the level 1. But this is a one-way street Heroes of the Storm at this point. Varian hasn't chosen his level 10 yet. There we go, heading straight into the Warbringer. And it's time to shine. They're stealing the camp away, or at least they're trying to. Sonya has Lee, but doubt that she's going to use it in this situation. We're also seeing the Hoarder pulled again. And Sonya could get aggressive in some of these fights, but honestly, who are you going to jump on? I mean, serious question, who are you going to leap on? They need to somehow trying to get Phoenix, I suppose. Sergeant Hammer with the siege tactics is going to be a little bit tough. It's just too many escape tools to make leap really a thing, unless you also commit to the level 20 talent. So it's going to be a little bit tricky. They need a setup. They need someone to set this up, and Stukov would of course be the perfect candidate. Once that the lurking arm hits, you are guaranteed that the leap target is not going to be able to get away from you. But it's time for another Dragonite, potentially, since the Hardos are already in control of both of the shrines. Misha is playing it out against the Vikings top side, now that Rexa has taken towards the top position. There's the leap, and Hammer. Oh, nicely done. Brightwing with a save, and Chris gets out. That looked really good for a moment, though. The big shove is coming in. But Zero falls, and Blade is on the run. The Vikings at the top are struggling against Rexa. Olaf is dead. And this looks like a potential second objective for the Hardos. Blade is dead, Sonya gets wrecked, and Chris is going for the channel. By now, Hazorps is making it happen. Moving straight into the mid lane. Dragonite number 2, 5 kills to 0. 2-level lead. And they're going straight up for the middle and then potentially for the bot lane, where Chris is already opening the wall up. Yeah, in comes the Lurking Arm, but Nick is going to get away from this one. Yasuo with one blink kill after another, and they just don't have anything here. Chris is weaving those auto attacks in like a surgeon wields the scalpel. Amazing mechanics right here. These right clicks are fantastic. Sergeant Hammer, oh my god, so much skill involved. It's just right click after right click, and he is adjusting them beautifully. Right clicking Blade, right clicking Hogger. He could right click Chromie if he wanted to, but he decides to go for Blade instead. And we're only making a little bit fun of Sergeant Hammer. Generally, it's kind of cool to see Hammer again being played for once, but it's not really the hero that you want to have in every single game. Let's just put it like that. Either way, the keep goes down, and it just illustrates once again how strong and how much control the blue team has at this point. 7 kills to 0, and yeah, they can pretty much do whatever they want at this point. 2-level lead for them already. Problem for Go Next is that they still don't have the level 13. There's the taunt! Chris wasn't in range. If he could have started to auto attack right away when the taunt hit home, that would have probably been another Hogger kill. But yeah, couldn't really make that happen. So they're working on the level... hello, team, wait! Yeah, that's Baylog down. That's also a kill on Olaf, as Hazu kills another Viking topside. It's at least 13 versus 13 talents, but to be fair, the Hardos, they are already working on level 16, and it's only half a level before they lock the next one in. Damage output, 27,000 at this point. Yeah, so there it is. The Vikings with a spin to win. They're spinning so much they're getting a little bit dizzy down here. And this Viking composition hasn't really worked out. Honestly, part of it is because of the draft that Go Next has, but it's mainly what we see from the blue team here. Now, they are of course better coordinated than Go Next. Go Next is currently number 7 in the standings, and the Hardos are on 2nd place. They're still aiming to reclaim the top position. But that draft into Sergeant Hammer here and the rest of the lineup really worked well against the Vikings. And from the beginning, Go Next had trouble to stop the siege topside. This Brightwing plus Hammer combination worked really well, gave Chris some additional space to work with, and of course the sustain that he needed here. And once they took the wall and the fountain down, the top lane was more or less lost to Go Next. And it resulted eventually with more Dragonites being taken. And you look at the minimap and you quickly realize that up to this point, Go Next wasn't able to take a single fort down. I don't think they took a tower down yet, to be precise. Yeah, another taunt at the top. They're going for the Vikings again. Eric is down, and well, that's a full-on Viking kill, I suppose. Yeah, they get every single one of them. It's a triple, baby. And at the bottom of the map, at least Sonya was able to retake. The problem is it's not going to last for too much longer. With the level 16 talents now available for the Hardos, they have Giant Killer for Chris. That in and of itself is of course already a big problem if you're playing a pretty heavy melee setup. And at the same time, the Feign Death is going to make Hazu a little bit harder to kill. It completes his quest too at the 11-minute mark, so there's that. And yep, here we go. Bottom of the map. Blade, good luck with that. That ain't happening. They want Sonya, and unless she leaps out, they're gonna get Sonya. He's already, look at this. Nick is already waiting for the move to warp away, and instead of wasting the cooldown, Blade decides that he's not even gonna try, and it's probably the better choice here. The cooldown is higher, so in this case, he would have died anyways. The other variation would have been him dying plus using a cooldown that is longer than his death timer. But now that the Dragonite is taken, Sonya's of course still missing for the defense at the bot lane. We're only 11 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, but Chris is already sieging up with all of that push power. Moves out of Gromi's Sandblast range, but can start to whittle down the hit points on the core as the Dragonite approaches and starts to take the shield down. Here come the attacks. Giant Killer is now working quite nicely. Chromie gets a kick and ends up outside of the base, but Nick gets attacked. The core is already falling slowly. Very slowly, I might add. Really nice ult from Chris too. Hit multiple heroes with that, but they couldn't kill anybody. The Dragonite still focusing on the core though, and by now it's down to 30%, and this is not looking good, especially with Hammer moves in again. 12%, make it 5. This is game. The Hardos with the lead in the best of 5 series here at the Masters Clash Playday 11.
Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV.
Game number 1 didn't really go all too well with the Vikings draft for Go Next. Now we're heading into Towers of Doom, our second map in the best of 5 series, and the Hardos have of course taken the lead. Another map where the Vikings could shine. But let's have a bit of a look what exactly Go Next has up their sleeves here. And yeah, we ended up pretty quickly in this one. Now, the Sergeant Hammer combo was definitely something that the red team wasn't able to deal with properly, at least not with the draft that they had. Chromie alone just wasn't enough. Now we have Uther banned out, and also the ban against Yasuo's Lucio. I mean, it's not only Yasuo who's target banned with Lucio. Lucio in general is really strong and allows a lot of annoying players on the opponent's side. But of course we have a couple of players that excel on him more than others. And in those games you normally see him banned pretty much every single time. But well, we got Brightwing also banned. It's a full-on support setup. Everybody just bans support. Keep Medivh in mind. Keep our usual suspects, Sonya and Hogga in mind too. But especially the Medivh ban or pick is something to always keep a bit of an eye on. Medivh is weird. Medivh is just weird. He's sometimes the most impactful hero in a game, oftentimes banned. And then in other cases he doesn't get any attention whatsoever, and both teams just go for a friendly agreement to not pick him, but here he gets taken out once again. So it seems like the Hardos are pretty much looking at this and they're saying like, hey, what is the one thing that could really screw with us and maybe cause a problem? And they just end up with Medivh here. So yeah, Medivh gets banned, Hogga gets taken, and now Chris, I guess he's gonna go for either D.Va or for Sonya here. Both of them are still up. I've played a lot of D.Va on this map too. I mean, you want to have someone that can rotate between the top lanes, so the normal playstyle here is a 4-man at the bottom of the map, where at least the 4-man that eventually will focus a bit more onto the pumpkin camps at the bot side, and then they attack top. There's D.Va, okay, goes down that route. And, well, what is Nick gonna take? Tigers. It's about time, baby! Yeah. still a little bit salty that he lost his cigar. I'm totally against smoking, but that just dropped me the wrong way. Poor Hanzo. Poor Tychus. Hanzo, he can keep his cigarette, but Tychus loses the cigar. Something is definitely wrong there. Cassia and Malfurion. Yeah, yesterday we had the biggest record on Cassia stack in competitive play. And it was Azerite with 194 stacks on the level 1 on Volskaya Foundry. Woo! I mean, baby, that was something. That was kind of crazy. The damage output on him was just incredible. I think he ended up with 130 or 140,000 damage at the end of the game. And it wasn't really a super long game either, so he could have easily have stacked up over 200 if the game continued a bit more. Hanzo gets banned out. And what else do we get for the last ban? I mean, you still have Nick on the other side, and he's been playing a lot of Kerrigan on this map. Other stuff, of course, too. I don't know, for Nick, I always associate Kerrigan with him now. He has played so many other heroes, played a lot of Kira and other stuff as well. But Kerrigan is always the hero that everyone has in their mind whenever that happens. So here comes the quick ban on Diablo. Poor Diablo, no love for him today. Even though Medivh is already banned and there's no Leyline Apocalypse setup that he could play, Diablo is also being banned out, so that is just unfortunate. He needs to get a little bit more love here. May and Deckard Cain. Stay a while and listen. Oh. Okay, so we got Deckard for Yasuo this time. I always knew that he identified as an old man. And, well, that leaves us with the last double pick. So, time to shine. What exactly are we going to get at the front line? We got Hogger for the side lane already. We need at least a tank. And what is it this time? Wit, come on. Do we get something like a Jojo again? Don't really think so. Then again, there's a lot of slows on the other side, so you could work around that. Garrosh! Alrighty. That's a lot of war chiefs on that side. Damn, son. Sylvanas and Garrosh. Okay, so they have push potential. They got the Wailing Arrow that they can hit, or of course go into Mind Control again. And Nick, last but not least, as so often, what are we going to get from our boy? Is it going to be a Kerrigan setup? Is it going to be anything else that can deliver a little bit of an oomph? X-Factor pick here. Jaina. Yeah, he's one of the few that actually puts Jaina back into the game, so I like it. Every now and then we see our girl again. So, guys, let's go. Towers of Doom, map number 2 in the best of 5. Let's go. Game number 2. It's Towers of Doom. The Hardos against Go Next. Let's go. Left side on the map, Chris on Diva. Yeah, Sonya has been completely ignored in this draft because Chris prefers the mech. He plays to win. Nick is playing Jaina, so we got our Frost Girl over here. Bad Benny on Mei. Harzorps is playing Tychus. And Yazu on Deckard Cain. On the right side of the map, a Blade on Hogger with a on the prowl here on level 1. We got Skynox on Malfurion, Kelvin on Sylvanas, Zero on Cassia, and Garrosh is played by Wit. Okay, let's go. The heat transfer on level 1, and in this case we got the lingering chill. Okay, so let's see what the red team can do to come back into this. We're going to see enough stacks for Cassia to have a late game impact, or if we're going to have another game where the Hardos are just going to start to control the game. Nick is already pissing Zero off a little bit with all the CC here. And you got to admit, they have a ton of CC. Deckard Cain with the slows, then we have Jaina, we have Mei. I mean, it's Team Frost that we're seeing over here. So there's that. They're giving me chills at this point. Wit is already going for the throws and gets rooted. Oh, Garrosh, no! And there's the kill. Garrosh is down. First blood after 1 minute. And of course, the camps have just now spawned. And the blue team are just saying, well, guys, we're here already. We might as well. As long as Garrosh is dead, why don't we steal the camp away from our opponent? And without the tank, they can't really do anything. So there we have it. They take the camp. We got the pumpkins in, and here we go. A little bit of a play. Oh, nice. A little bit of a play against Nick, but he's able to make it out. Hogger was trying to come in too. Woo. And the old man with the big seal. Look at him. Yeah, he's showing the kids how he's done. with 7,500 years of experience, he definitely knows how to control spaces over here. So Deckard Cain rocking it out. He's running the mech spider. Perfect. The secret mount of Tomb of the Spider Queen. That story never gets old. Anyways, I mean, there might be a couple of newbies amongst you, so I'm going to explain that real quickly. So, once upon a time, I played a game on Tomb of the Spider Queen where we were dominating the opponent. And at some point I was holding 60 or 70 gems, but we were like rocking everyone. And we won a team fight, so I had the gems, but we took a structure down. And we had one guy that, as it always happens within Heroes, started yelling at us, telling us what to do. Turn in, turn in! And my team got so pissed with him that we at some point just told the guy that you get a secret mount whenever you hold 100 gems. Which immediately prompted him to shut the fuck up and try to collect gems throughout the entire game. And as we were finally taking the opponent's core down already, because again it was a total beatdown, he was sitting at 80 gems and was begging us, please, please, don't end the game. I need 20 more gems for the secret mount. Only 20 more gems, guys, please, no, don't end the game. Upon which we obviously continued to tell him that we were just lying to him the entire game, that there is no secret mount, even though the entire team confirmed it. Everybody was in on the joke, and he didn't take too kindly to it, but for us it was a big laugh, so it was kind of nice. And he totally fell for it. Anyways, now that we had the spider mount here, the mech spider in, reminded me a little bit of that. But we have, of course, the first altar phase up. The top left, top right exchange is ready, but the shots still get fired with the third altar taken by the blue team. So here we go. 2 kills to 0. We have 12 stacks for Cassia. The level 7 talents are kicking in as the Hardos are establishing a slight lead here in the game again, and they're using it to push through the bot lane immediately. As you can see, we also got the ice flows in right now. And, well, it's a pretty strong setup for the Hardos. They have a lot of... Really, the setup has a lot of control. I talked about the slows a little bit. Now you have Tychus behind this, so whenever he activates the minigun, if the target can't run away from you, and you get the full minigun duration through with the bigger they are, you can chunk anybody down within seconds. The only counterplay is probably a stun or the blind of Cassia, but outside of that, you're just toast. And then Jaina comes in and delivers a little bit more damage, and you are in a real good setup now. But the level 7 talents are kicking in for everyone. We have still on level 7 also the festering wounds over there. Sylvana's trying to go ham a little bit on them. 21 stacks by now for Cassia, as our girl is trying to get damage in. But he went a little bit too far, and all of a sudden Zero is under pressure. Skynox with the attempted save, and he's making it happen. Here comes the engage as Wit comes in with the Indomitable to prevent all of the slows. Tries to go for Nick, and Nick just walks away from him. The secret counter to the Garrosh flank, walking away. So yeah, is able to escape, no problem there. They were trying to force that fight, but they just couldn't. So unfortunate for GoNexus, they're trying to come back into this. Not too far behind yet, but it's a level. A level lead is tough, can be tough. It can be snowballed easily. And a lot of the experience, as you want to have a look here, is again minion experience. And I'm not getting tired of telling you guys how important it is to soak all the lanes if you want to keep up with your opponent's team. And this is probably still the biggest problem that a lot of Heroes of the Storm beginners have, that they don't realize how impactful and important lane experience is. Obviously, that doesn't matter. That doesn't mean that you are abandoning the team fight in order to get it. At least not if your team is committing. But you need to play smart around these things and try to get ahead of your opponent a little bit, because it adds up over time, and it leads you to wonderful positions like the one that the Hardos are in now, where you have a talent advantage on level 10 with a 1 level lead, and you can simply dive this structure. I mean, this entire setup that you're seeing, the kill against Cassia, the kill against Sylvanas, and now the bell tower that they convert would not have been possible without them being diligent about lane control. That's why you have on this map so often a hero that soaks 2 lanes. Someone might eventually help out a little bit, but this all stems from those small advantages that they got, kills of course included, that helped them to establish that big of a lead. And then once level 10 hit, they immediately flipped the switch. They went full pirate. Hit their old buttons and started to commit to the bot lane pressure. Now at the top, a bit of an attempt to go for Chris, but that didn't really work out. We got Wally, the water elemental, in again. Deckard Cain is reading I actually don't really know what book he's reading, to be honest. Ah, well, maybe he has a good book recommendation for me. Who knows, who knows, who knows. Anyways. What is your guilty pleasure read, by the way? My guilty pleasure reads are probably Dresden Files. I'm a huge... honestly, I hate plot holes. It's one of the reasons why I think all the new Star Wars movies are total garbage. And why especially The Last Jedi was just one of the worst movies. I mean, that movie was horse shit. That has so many plot holes that you can drive trucks through it. So it's a little bit hypocritical for me to say that I like Dresden Files, because let's face it, Dresden Files has a couple of plot holes too. But the reason why I like it is because the writing style is kind of fun, and it's something that doesn't take itself too serious. A lot of sarcasm in that, and I'm a sucker for that as well. So if you guys want to read something that's not the best literature out there, but is a bit of a guilty pleasure, Dresden Files are a recommendation. But again, you can't take it too serious, and it doesn't take itself too serious either. Got kills coming in though, as the blue team is now going full on for a fire shot here. They're coming straight up with 2 kills. They have the level 13 talent, so now they have an even bigger lead with 10 shots fired against the opponent's team. That puts the core now down to 18. 36 to 18. They're doubling the points. Bot lane control is still there. And yeah, I don't know. This is a bit of a blowout that we are watching. With 40 stacks, Cassia is at least able to pick up or to keep a pretty good pace at the stacking, but they just don't have anything in these team fights. The coordination is a big problem, and even with the ults now playing a role also for the red team, Go Next is just no position where they can do anything about it. So it's camp after camp that gets taken by the Hardos, and they are doing a fantastic job here. And yeah, Chris, they're ganking him again. They're trying. And Chris simply, see ya, and puts the spray in that nobody saw except for us. Well, actually, I think Blade caught a glimpse. Yeah, Cassia saw also her life flash in front of her face once again, in front of her eyes as she dies, and they're now trying to go for the bell tower conversion in the mid lane as well. So yeah, this game could end in record time. Wally the water elemental was coming in. Obviously it's still Christmas in the Nexus, so we got a snowman over here. And yep, there we have it. Blade gets attacked and the bell tower is down. Hogger is dead. Bot lane gets still controlled. They have 6 bell towers to 2. Oh my god. I feel a bit sorry for Go Next. But again, there's a lot on the line for the Hardos. They want to get the #1 spot back. And in order to do that, they have to give everything here. And we've seen the series between 30k and Inting for Ruby. If you're memeing too much, then you're risking to lose a game. That Sky Temple match that we saw between Inting for Ruby and 30k, that will haunt me in my nightmares. I mean, that was really the moment when you just wanted to yell at Inting for Ruby, no, not like this. Is that the first kill? Is that the first kill? Woo! Applause, applause. The first kill in the game for Go Next. Nicely done. Now, of course, they lost the ult at the bottom of the map, but they would have lost that one too. Anyways, so now it's 9 points against 36. They put them down into the single digits right now. And, well, here we go. The level 16 talents are ready. Bad Benny with a slide. Am I the only one that every single time he sees a Mei slide into the opponent's team is waiting for the mosh pit? Am I the only one? It's like every single time. How is he not dead? How is he not dead? Bad Benny survives the old man. Stay a while and listen. The Fleabag eats the grenade and dies. Cassia is dead too. Hardos is just shooting the shit over here. Pop and Odin getting 1 kill after another. Bad Benny, and no fucking way. How? Just how? How is that fucker alive? Unbelievable. Now they can go for the top. I mean, look at this. Check this one out. I mean, this is the second time that he barely survived. The Bad Benny comes in, they're stopping with, they get the kill, and Bad Benny has 11 hit points and gets out again. You gotta be joking. I mean, you can't be serious. How can they make this happen multiple times in a row? It's insane. Now, the shots are gonna get fired, and that puts the core down to 5 points. Guys, that means 1 more altar is all that's needed out of this triple altar phase, and the game ends. Because we still got that extra bell tower at the bottom of the map. So they just need to split a little bit and decide which altar they want to go for. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And Diva is trying at the bottom. Cassia is going to go for it, interrupt. Here comes the Christmas Carol as Wally the Snowman comes in and tries to slow them down a little bit. Hazu with the channel. And this is a victory! Game on, everybody! That is a 2-0 lead for the Hardos against Go Next in the best of 5 at the Masters Clash. The Hardos. They're not making it easy for Go Next to win a map, are they now? Battlefield of Eternity is our third map, and it might be the last. At the pace that the Hardos are going, they are likely to take Go Next out unless the red team has something prepared for Battlefield of Eternity. At least on the last map, it didn't seem that they had a chance. I mean, this was just from start to finish a fantastic performance by the blue team. Now, it wasn't a 42-0, but still pretty impressive. First pick, first ban for Go Next, and Stukov is the first one to get banned out. This is of course a map where any kind of sniper composition around Varian or Nuburak with a follow-up is really strong, and they're just taking Stukov out so that we don't see a Varian plus Stukov setup. You can still supply Malfurion and sub that in, but let's see what else we're gonna get. I mean, we had times where they were trying to play Tyrande. Thankfully that shit is over. Do you remember like half a year ago where a couple of teams were trying to make Tyrande a thing again? And they just got their asses handed to them over and over again. Some of them were very resistant to learn resistant. In German, we have a word for that, beratungsresistent. And it led to just loss after loss after loss. I think Tyrande won one time. That's the only time that she was able to pull it off. But okay, Chromie is also banned, which leaves us with our favorites up against Sonya, Hogga, both up. Technically, this could be a game where we're seeing Medivh. I doubt it, but still, technically it's now possible. Full support focus. I mean, look at the bans. Every single one, with the exception of Chromie, is a support. I don't know why for a second I looked at the picture of Chromie and had her in the support category as well. I mean, the only things that come to mind are really mean statements about Chromie that are even too harsh for me, so I'm not gonna go for that. Anyways, we got Sonya immediately taken. First pick potential, of course, as usual. Are we seeing Rexa? Rexa is a hero that the blue team has played a lot on this one. Told you! Varian and Malfurion. Told you don't need Stukov for that. You can always sub in Malfurion instead, and that's exactly what they're doing. So here we go. Malfurion. Green eyes, green beard. I don't know. I know nothing about World of Warcraft lore, but someone told me that him and Illidan, they're brothers, right? And Tyrande, they were both fighting for her, and Tyrande actually chose Malfurion over Illidan. I mean, honestly, who am I to criticize Tyrande's choice? But from my perspective, how dumb do you have to be to to go from Illidan, who's like full on, like, you know, like bad boy and like, I mean, the guy is ripped. And then you go to the old geezer Malfurion. Have you ever locked him in a quick match or something? He's a Thritus boy. Like, how do you go to that? I don't really get it. So, I don't know, maybe Tyrande is blind and I didn't know, but yeah, either way, if we're gonna go on the hotness scale, Malfurion is getting beat heavily by Illidan. Anyways, that's for a different day. Now, we got Ana in and we got Liming, so we got the nano boost on Liming, that's the first thing. And, well, if Keldon can pop off a little bit, that would be kind of cool. We still need a damage dealer for the blue team. They could, I mean, if they wanted to, they could drop Jaina again. There's very few teams that really play Jaina, but personally, I kind of like it. It's good to see her every now and then. I would have loved a Tracer as well, though. Tracer together with Malfurion, that would have been pretty cool, too. So, let's go. What else? Okay. People kind of pointed out that Illidan spent 10,000 years in prison. So are you telling me that that bitch Tyrande was just too lazy to wait for him? Damn girl, how dare you! I mean, seriously, no faith. 10,000 years, that's nothing, dude. That's absolutely nothing. There's like no loyalty over here. Leo would be, I mean, he would be aghast at that. Samuro for Nick. We had so many Samuro games from him on this map, and still it slips my mind every single time that he could be taking it to. Jimmy with his level 1, so he's coming straight in with the Exterminator probably. So we're gonna check that one out. Double pick now for Battlefield and Cassia plus Muradin. By the way, how fucked up is that? If you're 10,000 years in prison, right? You come out of prison and the first thing you learn is that your wife, girlfriend, whatever, just said, see ya, and just teamed up with your brother. The fuck is that? That's a fucked up family right there. No wonder Illidan is always salty and angry. I mean, I would be angry too. Can you imagine that? 10,000 years in prison, you get out and all of a sudden you learn that your girlfriend is hooking up with your brother. I mean, that's a screwed up family. Anyways, Chris is playing Thrall, so we got our triple melee, and boys, we're ready to go. Battlefield of Eternity. Let's go straight up for our third game in the series. Game number 3 has started, everybody, as you are learning more and more about the real World of Warcraft lore. The stories that Blizzard doesn't want to tell you. The mainstream media is not reporting on the plights and trials of Illidan as Malfurion is stealing his girlfriend. As we're making this a little bit more interesting, and we are just like telling the truth here. Hashtag my truth. We got the Hardos on the left side with a 2-0 lead. Bad Benny on Varia and Azovs on Jimmy. Chris with the Trolling Thunder on Thrall. Yaz on Malfurion and Nick on Samuro. On the right side of the map, it's Kelvin on Liming, Wit on Muradin, Zero on Cassia, Skynox and Anna, and Blade on Sonya. By the way, like, how deep has society fallen that we're now accepting terms like my truth? My truth. It's called an opinion. It's not the truth. There's a difference between facts and my truth. It's my truth. Yeah, oh, so you mean your opinion. Fair enough. Sometimes you just want to cry and hit your head into a wall or something. Anyways, now that we are having our little setup over here, it's worthy to point out that we got the perfect storm on level 1, so the stacks are coming in for Muradin. First of all, Sledgehammer is likely to be taken on this map anyways, because you want to have the extra ooh. Okay. They went down. I gotta admit that I didn't really think he would die, and so like, nah, I don't have to jump there. So yeah, that was on me. But anyways, now that we're looking at Muradin, he's most likely gonna get Sledgehammers regardless on level 4, but you also want to complete the baseline as quickly as you can to make him a little bit more powerful with the Pierce, with the cooldown reduction on the auto attacks, and so on and so forth. Samuro is most likely gonna play a bigger role as the game continues. Normally in the early game it's not really that big of a deal, but time will tell. The level 1 for Malf, as usual after the rework, the Emerald Dream is there. We got the top side set up with Blade and Kelvin as they're taking the camp, which should honestly lead to the blue team to rotate down and take the opposing Khazra camp, which is exactly what they're doing here. So 1 camp for each team, 1 kill for each, and that's off to a good start here. Blade and Chris are now finally locked into that 1v1, and look at that, the combo rotating around, trying to make the little play with the Storm Bolt. Kelvin, he at least hits the orb here. And it's immediately blinking around too. Doesn't have Calamity yet, so there's that. Either way, we got our level 4 talents about to kick in, and a slightly inexperience for the Hardos that should be negated in a moment by the opponent's team. But there's the taunt! And Muradin is just jumping out. Yeah, hobbity hop, my friend. If he doesn't have Legolas to throw him around, then he is surprisingly agile. You would never really think that that little fatty could jump that far and high. I mean, he's better than me, so really impressive. Kudos on him. That's some serious leg strength that he has there. So, yeah, good shit. He must be training a lot. Anyways, we got 1 kill against the kill. We currently have our level 4 talents kicking in. That gives us more quest talents because the Frostwolf pack is coming through. And likely that will result in level 16 Alpha Wolf being taken so that they can burn Muradin down quicker. Talking about burning Muradin down, that dwarf doesn't stand a chance. That is bullying. That is bullying, seriously. If we were in school, this would be a timeout or whatever they do these days. Look at that. First he gets taunted, probably Varian telling him that he's fat or something, and then he just gets bullied from all sides. I mean, that is just not okay. Blue team is coming in and they have absolutely zero respect for the Dwarf and take him down quickly. Muradin is a little bit salty. He comes through and says, boys, it's hammer time. But he needs a little bit more than only the 9 stacks that he currently has to his name. Also talking about stacks, Chris himself sitting at 1 on the first Wolf pack, so he's sitting here. And, well, another setup, this time against Malfurion. And Yazoo walks out of the fight. But, Sonya with a connect on the spear and then a quick slam, bam, and that's the end of Malfurion. But the objective, it's a big one. That's nearly 100% shield that we have now for the Hardos, and that bad boy is gonna do some work. This is gonna hurt. Chris is also nearly done with his quest. Muradin with an attempt to hit the Stormbolt. If they can catch up on that, then maybe. Another connect here. Well played. So that's 4 stacks for Chris. He's nearly done. The bottom of the map, Sonya is getting away, but top side, this is where the real action happens. And Hazu. Hazu. Yeah, we're trying to come in, but look at Cassia. The root and the taunt, and Cassia is dead. Alrighty, Cassia down. That's the level 7 talent in the hands of the Hardos. And yeah, with that, we have Go Next in serious trouble because they gotta abandon this top fort. Here comes the flank. Li Ming, Kelvin, and he's dead too. 4 kills to 2. Wit is jumping out once more, and the objective is just marching through that top lane. The Hardos, they're going through the first fort of the game like hot butter through cheese, just crushing everything here, melting it away. And now we have them destroying the wall at the keep too. This is about as good as it gets when we're talking about objective number 1. The quest is completed for Thrall as the flank is coming in. Blade is looking for a target. They're trying to get the kill, pushing it past the Immortal right now. Kelvin looking for the resets, of course. Nick is a little bit low, but he's able to get away. But Benny, on the other hand, he's isolated from the rest of the team and is eating dirt. Finally, the counter kill, and that's Varian eliminated. Hazorps is on the run. Jimmy! No, maybe. The Stormbolt doesn't connect, and Reyna is still on the run, but he's also running out of mana. He won't have another penetrating round, and there's the end of the chase as they get to connect with Kelvin's combo of Li Ming and Blade with the spear. Nice! Li Ming, the counter kill. Maybe he was celebrating a little bit too soon. So there it is. 5 kills to 4. They make the play for Sonya. Blade, he gets out, but we got a brawl on our hands, don't we? It's a big leading experience still for the Hardos, considering that level 10 is so close. They're going for that Benny again, but not really. Alright. It's a good one. I like it. A lot of brawly setup that we currently see. 51 stacks for Cassia. That's a lot of stacks. She's really capitalizing on these fights. 18,000 damage is reflecting that. She's top damage in the game at this point. And there we go. Yeah, by the way, talking about Jimmy! I rewatched The Wire the other day. Must have been the 7th time now that I watched the show. Still the fucking best show out there. Like, honestly, nothing else comes second. Yes, there's a lot of really, really good shows, but if you are one of the few crazy people that never watched The Wire in their life, do yourself a favor and watch it. And yeah, it's fantastic. You have to watch it in the original English, on the other hand. Might be a little bit tough to understand for some people that are non-native English speakers, but yeah, definitely check that out. If you haven't watched it yet, you need to do that. That show is just so freaking good, it's crazy. But either way, top side, Sonya, she's dealing with a push. We got the level 10 abilities finally for both of the teams. And that, of course, gives us the leap once again. The Heart Engage right over here. Sundering is out too. The Dwarf is going full on for the Avatar. And I'm telling you, 16 Alpha Wolf. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna go straight for Alpha Wolf. I'm gonna play that one out. Big push at the bot lane with the double camp, so the red team is already forced into a defensive position. Muradin, the dwarf in trouble. Worst accent imitation ever. Holy crap, that was shit. Oh my god. Oh, I'm ashamed for myself. So, here comes the focus on Sonya though, and she goes down. Sonya dead, no chance for her. Easily dropped. 6 kills, 2 4. And, well, the chance still for Go Next to turn it around, but they really need a teamfight victory. They lost the halftime show, and if they lose this Immortal with another 100% shield, they're gonna be in a lot of trouble. That bot lane is already looking fragile. Nice setup against Malfurion, though. Easy kill. Kelvin, nano boosted. Skydogs. They're all so low. But again, as long as they get the kills, it's fine. Kill them before they kill you. Chris with a double connect, and Thrall gets murdered. But we also have Nick coming in. Blade with a leap, but that one didn't connect either. And it's still trouble. Hardos gets another auto attack in it with Exterminator on level 1. That's nice damage. Nick is also trying to come together here. Bad Benny is moving through, and they are just trying to drop that Immortal as quickly as they can. But Samuro dies. And the Immortal is taken. Kelvin! 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 He gets out. Nice. I don't kill that Benny, but still, that would have been pretty cool. If they could have taken Kelvin down here, that would have been great. I love how Zero ate the dart. Anna comes in, Kelvin's like, heal me, I need healing. And then the healing dart comes out. And Cassia walks in with full HP and says, thank you. Oh, it would have been just more perfect if like a random shot would have killed Li Ming. I mean, like this, for example. Li Ming down, big push to the bot lane, 5 versus 5. Malfurion gets attacked again, and Malfurion dies. That's what you get for stealing Illidan's girl, dude. Yeah, that's exactly what you deserve. You just don't do that to your brother. What kind of family is that? You guys need therapy. So Cassia is down, Muradin is dead too. 62 stacks for Cassia. Yeah, well, she's dead, so it doesn't help her, but she has 28,000 damage. But still, 10 kills to 8. The level 13 talent is, of course, boosting it even further, and that's going to be a fort, boys. That fort is gone. The keep as well. So yeah, they're dropping all of it, and they might get the core. That Immortal is still quite strong, but it's a bit early in the game. It's a 5 versus 5, and that makes it a bit tricky. You can maybe get a bit of damage at it, but they don't want to risk it, and I can totally understand that. So they're moving back here right away. And yep, in the meantime, the level 13 talents have now kicked in for Go Next. Illusionist as usual. Ooh, healing static. No, Thunderstrike. Full on damage. What am I talking about? One color. So yeah, full on damage for him. Healing static would have been wild. I expected Bronze Spear range, to be honest. But, well, fair enough. So now we also have the War Traveler in. Avoidance. Let's see if Cassia can avoid a bit more damage. That's some serious... But talking about damage, that is serious damage at the top. That wave just dropped roughly 25% off that thing. And another shot gets fired. I mean, again, that one thing doesn't really change too much, I suppose, but the entire base is now in real trouble. And with 2 kills to 0, this could be the end of all of this. So, 10 kills to 8. Bot lane pressure is happening. And, well, let's go. Muradin is sitting at 22 stacks. Cassia is sitting at 68. Level 16 is still a level away. And so far we haven't seen the next objective announced yet, but it shouldn't really take too much longer. The problem is really that both of the forts for the Hardos are still standing, and that includes the fountain. So they have a really short distance to move back and tap the fountain when those fights happen. Yeah, there's another connect. Muradin gets taunted. Nick comes in from behind. Chris with the attempted sundering, but that one did not quite do what he was hoping for. Green Jesus, or Green Moses, as he's splitting the opponent's team in half, driving a wedge between them, or at least trying to. A bit unsuccessful in the last engage, but the cooldown is going to be up for the next battle potentially. By the way, talking about the core. Core is currently losing a little bit of hit points. You're fired. That stupid tower pisses me off every single time. Couldn't they just move the tower a little bit to make sure that the catapults don't focus on it? I mean, seriously. Anything. We got... anyways, we got the top side. Samuro is doing what Samuro does. He is pissing you off by attacking structures and just simply backdooring a little bit more. He's moving away, and then he realizes that the entire red team is still defending their Immortal because they lost the halftime show again. And while they're this time getting way more kills than in the last couple of games, they are still struggling to control the map. And Samuro is simply taking the keep at the top. No problems whatsoever. The catapult hits the last shot. Level 16 is in. We got catapults at the bot lane now as well. And they are trying to fight for the Immortal, but things are looking dire, especially with Ana now being destroyed. Granny is down, and yeah, it's brutal. Alpha Wolf, by the way, has been taken by Thrall, so that's the extra damage. And as the team fights and the Thundering hits hard with another kill against Cassia, we're seeing the core attacked. Samuro is going straight for it, escorts the minion waves into. The shield is falling very, very rapidly. Muradin falls too. Kelvin tries to escape, but I don't think he can get away from this. He can prolong it a little bit and try to not die before the core falls, but even that is a bit of a stretch, I suppose. And yeah, that's the end. The end of Li Ming, the end of the game. A 3-0 victory for the Hardos, ladies and gentlemen, as they lock in a very decisive victory against Go Next on Battlefield of Eternity. GG and well played as they stay in touch with 30k in the standings.
Thank you everybody for watching the video today. I hope that you enjoyed the show and the commentary. And keep in mind that the spoiler protection that is going to run for the rest of the video is made possible by all the support on patreon.com. So guys, if you want to support my work, if you want to help me start new projects and keep the spoiler protection in place, please consider heading over to patreon.com/Khaldor. There's also a link in the YouTube description, and check that out. Thanks in advance, and see you guys next time with more esports coverage here on Khaldor TV. Have a great day.